Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Showalter and welcome back to my channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Dieter Rams' 10 principles for good design, or the 10 commandments for good design. Talking about that next. Dieter Rams was one of the most prolific designers of our time. He was really prevalent in the 60s and was in charge of all consumer products for Braun, like razors and calculators and shavers and all sorts of stuff like that. And he's really famous for beautiful, simple, kind of stripped down design that's not only gorgeous and sleek, but it's also very, very easy to use and understand. Very prevalent in the UX community as well as the product design community. And Dieter Rams is not only an amazing practitioner of design, but he laid out these 10 design principles that really are used even right now today in most things. You can find these principles and values in some of the best design you can see today, and is actually one of the main inspirations for Johnny Ives and the design team over at Apple. So what I'd like to do is read each design principle in its entirety as it was written and thought of by Dieter Rams, and then take 45 seconds or so and explain it in my own language and show some examples on screen. So here we go. Without any further ado, number 1. Good design is innovative. The possibilities for innovation are not by any means exhausted. Technological development is always offering new opportunities for innovative design, but innovative design always develops in tandem with innovative technology and can never be an end in itself. The depths of good design have not been plumbed or explored as is right now. And so all that good technology does is offer us awesome opportunities to solve problems in tandem with the technology. I think one of my favorite examples for this right now as we speak is Anchor. It's a podcasting platform for iOS and for Android, and they do an amazing job in the audio and podcasting field. That's a technology that's been around for a while, but they're starting to bring really, really good design and solutions to the problem and the difficulty of making a podcast. It's countless hours of editing. You have to have a certain level of knowledge of audio. You have to have equipment. And so they took all of that and they literally just simplified it by putting it on your phone, and you can hold it up to your ear and build a podcast. And everything they've done in previous months, and I'm assuming everything they will continue to do, is to solve that problem even more by, in tandem with the technology, providing good design solutions. Good job, Anchor. I like you a lot. Also, if you're interested, follow me on Anchor because I like to podcast on there from time to time. Good design makes a product useful. A product is bought to be used. It has to satisfy certain criteria, not only functional, but also psychological and aesthetic. Good design emphasizes the usefulness of a product whilst disregarding anything that could possibly distract from it. The first line of that definition, that a product is purchased to be used. And when I say product, I mean anything. I mean a phone, I mean an application, I mean a website. When somebody browses a website, they're using their time. They're purchasing it with the seconds they spend landing on that homepage. And so it has to be not only flashy, amazing, and beautiful, but it has to be useful. And I think that's a really good reminder to us to not get so focused on the aesthetic and realize that a stick is a really, really good design if you need to poke something. Simple is better. Good design is aesthetic. The aesthetic quality of a product is integral to its usefulness because products we use every day affect our person and our well-being, but only well-executed objects can be beautiful. I think when you read this, that good design is aesthetic, you might just think, duh, obviously, but it's not so obvious. When you do user research and spend a lot of time kind of analyzing a product and auditing its effectiveness, you'll find that people can't even describe sometimes why they don't enjoy something. The aesthetics that subconsciously they cannot define or off actually affect them and make them not want to use it. Good design makes a product understandable. It clarifies the product's structure. Better still, it can make the product talk. At best, it is self-explanatory. There are complex things, and there's a couple of different ways we can take that complex thing and simplify it. We can simplify the product itself by streamlining and stripping out features and extra bells and whistles, or we can use our design resources and our design skills to actually make more sense of those items. And you do this through aesthetics, and you do it through content, you do it through everything that you have at your disposal as a designer, but you really use all of those tools to grab people and make sense of something immediately and then draw them in for more of that information. So a poster that's on a wall grabs you and it makes sense contextually to what it's representing, but then as you read the content, it's very easy to get that content across. It's very easy to kind of intake that content. Similarly, if you're doing like software or an application, iconography choices, typography, color palettes, so on and so forth can make a difference as to grab somebody immediately and then lead them through that process of learning the software. Good design is unobtrusive. Products fulfilling a purpose are like tools. They're neither decorative objects nor works of art. Their design should therefore be both neutral and restrained to leave room for the user's self-expression. As much as possible, as a designer, you should scale back, take things down, simplify, and distill. And so when it comes to all forms of design, you need to make sure that your design does not intrude on the point of the design. I'm glad that you love your color palette. I'm glad that you love your photos or your textures, but if it actually impedes the user's ability to use the product, you've gone too far and you need to scale back. Good design is honest. It does not make a product more innovative, powerful, or valuable than it really is. It does not attempt to manipulate the consumer with promises that cannot be kept. There's a bait and switch that can happen when you offer users the world, the entire kitchen sink, if they would only download the app, only to find out that the app doesn't work like they expected it to or like you promoted it to. And so the more honest you are about the product itself. For instance, if you have a shaver and all it does is shave, then don't promote it as something else and put lots of extra buttons and tabs. Put one button on it that turns it on and shuts it off because all it does is shave your face. That's it. Make sure they represent what you do. Good design is long-lasting. It avoids being fashionable and therefore never appears antiquated. Unlike fashionable design, it lasts many years, even in today's throwaway society. Ignore the hype, ignore the trends, ignore the fads that are in our design society, and spend the time actually solving the problem and not just trying to be popular and fit in right now. Innovative people and products stand out for good or for bad, but they stand out. Good design is thorough, down to the last detail. Nothing must be arbitrary or left to chance. Care and accuracy in the design process show respect towards the user. This just means be detail-oriented. Leave nothing up to chance. Focus on every single aspect of the design and make sure that it qualifies to be a part of that design as a whole. Holistically, make sure that you're designing things with care and concern and thoroughness. Good design is environmentally friendly. Design makes an important contribution to the preservation of the environment. It conserves resources and minimizes physical and visual pollution throughout the life cycle of the product. It speaks to the fact that we're part of a greater world and the things that we make end up in landfills. When we make a website or an application, there's a server running to support it and that's causing pollution. And so load time and products and all the things that have to do with making something, we need to be responsible with how we make them. And so I think it's a really good encouragement to minimalize, not just because it looks good, minimalize not because it makes something more useful, but minimalize because it's the right thing to do. All right, and the last design principle as laid out by Dieter Rams. Good design is as little design as possible. Less, but better, because it concentrates on the essential aspects and the products are not burdened with non-essentials. Back to purity, back to simplicity. I feel like all the design principles kind of focus around this one. Back to purity, back to simplicity. Getting the job done, no more, no less, but getting it done in a great way. Make it feel good, make it look good, make it fit right, make it contextually relevant, but don't overmake it. Well, that's it. That's all 10 of Dieter Rams' design principles for good design. I wonder how you're applying these design principles to make sure that your designs aren't just mediocre, but are fantastic and good and simple and pure and honest. Let me know down in the comments. Also, if you have any questions, leave those down in the comments as well. If you're new to the channel, I like to talk about things that are creatively minded, like design and development and life in general. So maybe subscribe, stick around, and hang out with me for a little bit. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, and I hope your designs are great. Talk to you guys next time. See ya.